the royal
We do nothing
public.
wrong. I mean, we're just perfectly reacting to it. Everyone else is wrong.
Obviously. That's the point of this podcast, is that we are right and people should listen to us. There's your clip, business boys. There's your show promo clip.
Hello and welcome to HR Confessions. I'm Rebecca Taylor.
And I'm Kim Rohrer. We are bringing you unfiltered perspectives from the world of HR with real stories and good advice.
And today we have a little treat for everyone. We have another guest co-host. Yay! Woo-hoo! Please welcome Hebba Youssef, Chief People Officer at WorkWeek and founder and creator of the I Hate It Here newsletter. Cue clapping. Yay! Welcome, Hebba.
We'll ask our producers on the back end to add in some real applause.
So happy to be here. I thought we would do the sirens, like the
Listen, the business boys can add in whatever special effects they want. That's their show.
That'd be so great. I would love it. I wish I had a little machine that made special sounds for all
oh
the
my
things
God.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be really dangerous
so
though, because that would be when I'm done with the conversation, I'll just be like, boom, boom. And then that's it. That's just how I just leave meetings.
It could be someone yelling wrong, and then you're just so annoying. I'm sorry. I will not be that annoying this episode. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I mean,
you're
vibe.
Great. I mean, the thing about this episode is that it's going to be noisy and annoying because I hate to tell you this, but we're going back to Vegas. So I already had a Vegas story. I have so many Vegas stories sitting in my inbox. And I was like, you know what? Hebba, I think the last time we saw each other was in Vegas. So why not make it we're going back to Vegas. So is everybody ready?
Vegas? Why does everyone want? I just feel like bad things happen in Vegas.
It's so edgy, you know? It's so
casino in the desert. I'm over it. Okay, sorry. Tell us the story.
No, it's not great it's not great for many reasons. Because it's just, there's something about so we're doing another leadership offsite, and there's always something about leadership offsites that they bring a certain vibe, because everyone's just okay, we're all together, we're not at home, we're traveling, we're whatever. Yeah. But when you know that it's in Vegas, it's just a whole different level. Yeah. It doesn't get as turnt if you're in Orlando. That's just a different vibe. But when it's Vegas, it sets a certain tone. And it's why I see these stories and I'm of course I know exactly where this happened even before anybody tells me what it is. Yeah. So are you ready?
Yes.
Ready as I'll ever be.
Tell me the story.
Okay. So our story begins at a national company with a distributed leadership team. So basically all US employees, all the leadership team is completely distributed. Mm-hmm. So all of these folks run their own regions. So think regional directors, each person in a different city. So they don't get to see each other in person very often, but they're very much like a team, because remote work is a real thing, even if you're working in an office. Just going to put that there.
Correct.
But once a year, everybody's summoned for this multi-day corporate leadership retreat. And as mentioned before, this year they're going to Vegas. So our hero today, we're going to call her Kelly. She's hyped. She actually likes Vegas in small doses. You basically just she's I'm down to get in there, wear a cute blazer, drink a fancy cocktail, get out. I don't want to stay too long. I don't want to be too crazy, but I like the vibe for a little bit. Fair. But she also knows this team. So when the location is announced, she G-chats her friend Emily. Remember G-chat?
No, I do.
Emily works in a different region, and she goes, "This is either going to be incredible or someone's going to get fired." So just to set the tone, Emily and Kelly know.
Yep.
So, and I don't know, did you ever have, because I had a lot of sort of coworkers like this where they were sort of in different offices, but we were all really tight and really close. So there's always the excitement of seeing each other in person, but then the whole dread of the venue where we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I had one where I was not a part of the leadership retreat, but I heard about it afterwards because I had left the company by that point, and they were all traveling to a country that was sort of centrally located for everyone who was on the leadership team, and there was definitely a vibe of all bets are off. We're all away from home in this country where none of us live, and
normal.
Meanwhile, everyone sign your waivers. In every email, I'm sign the waiver. Make sure you understand you are still employed and you have to follow the handbook even if you're not in your home state.
And when HR has to look up what is illegal in this country, so that in the back of your mind when they're I don't know. I feel like people always want to do different drugs, and they're I'm in this country, it's got to be legal here, and you're oh, it's still not. You could still go to jail.
Yeah, it's you probably.
Why does
shouldn't.
HR have to deal with this? Why is this an HR problem? But it is.
Yeah. Well, the fun part is this is actually another story where our hero isn't from HR. So this is like something that's happening outside. This is the person who bore witness to something.
Okay. Ooh.
So Emily and Kelly are excited. We're fasting forward to retreat time. Okay. So they're day one, they're in meetings all day. So lots of like team building, quarterly goals, you know the drill. I'm assuming a lot of like pumped up music, kind of getting everybody like, yeah, we're here for the year or whatever. That night they hit the hotel bar. So most of them kind of hang out for a bit, nothing too intense. But then around midnight, everyone starts peeling off because, you know, it's only day one, long way to go. Kelly goes upstairs around like 12:30. Some of the others stay down a little bit later. So she's not the last man standing, but she sees that there's like a little group that's like still lingering.
This is already past
so now
my
we're
bedtime.
in day
This is
two.
already past my bedtime. I'm like, 9 p.m. I'm like, bye. I don't like any of you. I'll just stay out with you till midnight. You're not my friends. Bye.
No, I know. Especially after the whole day together. Like, I'm just like, the last thing that I want to do is spend more time with people. I want to go to my room and just veg out and stare at the wall.
I want to be in my bed with a Caesar salad, a side of fries, and a Diet Coke with reality TV on. Talking
and a shower. Like, just a really long shower.
In the bathrobe, right? Yeah.
Or like, I at a Vegas conference once, I don't have a bathtub at my house, so I'm like, I'm at a hotel, there's a giant bathtub in my room. I'm like, I'm gonna take a bath for like an hour, and I'm just gonna keep refilling the hot water because I can.
Yeah,
I'm not staying out till 12:30.
I'm also the person at these retreats where like I'm afraid to leave my hotel room outside of when I'm going to and from these conference rooms because I'm just like, what if I run into someone? Like, what if what if someone's staying on my floor and they see me in my pajamas? No.
Wait, you guys, are we the reason people think HR is no fun?
Maybe. But I will just tell you, if you're worried about people seeing you on the other floor, for every retreat I've ever thrown, I have explicitly asked that my HR room be on a different floor than the majority of the employees.
That's actually a really good idea.
Like, what do you mean? I'm like, put them all on a different floor, put no one on this floor, put me on that floor.
Smart.
Yeah, so that's smart. Really smart.
Yep.
That's really smart.
Don't want to be on
Pro
the
tip. Pro tip from Hebba Youssef.
Call the hotel and say, I'm in HR, please put me on a different floor.
Don't let me meet these people because I don't want to hear and see what's going on.
I don't want to.
No.
So day 2 rolls around. The first session starts at 9 a.m. Normal start time. I hear 12:30 like fall asleep, and I hear a 9 a.m. start time, and I'm already like tapped out for the day. So first session starts at 9. Everyone's filing into the conference room in the hotel. Kelly's sitting there with her sad little coffee from the catering table when Emily leans over and goes, "Hey, have you seen Kyle?" Now let me tell you about Kyle. Kyle is the Pacific Northwest guy. Super charismatic, bit of a party guy, but good at his job. So he's one of those people who always seems to have this wild story, but still makes his numbers every quarter. Okay. And now he's MIA. So Kelly hasn't seen him since she left the group the night before, and neither has anyone else. So normally, if someone skips a session at a retreat, you'd maybe like shrug and figure they're running late, right? Just like, whatever, they'll be here. But not this group. They're tight, and they work together for years. Most of them were hanging out with Kyle until pretty late the night before, including Kelly. So when they hear that he's missing or if he's not around, they're like, that's a little weird. So 10 minutes pass with no Kyle, then 20, then 45. Now people are starting to worry. So I need to ask you two, what's your move here? Are you the type who checks in and tries to find Kyle, or do you just say, screw it, he's late, let's just get the session started?
Oh, I would have started the session without him, but been like texting him. I would have been texting him, but I wouldn't wait for him because you snooze, you lose, bro. Like, I can't help you.
Would probably like slacker text if there was no response. Like, we have the master rooming list usually as HR. I would probably go make the hotel tell me what room he was in, and I would go knock on the door.
Make sure he's alive.
You're close. Yeah. I would have started the session too. I would have been like, he's probably hungover and sleeping in, like, whatever, not my chair, not my problem.
But also you said, okay, maybe I'll wait and before I say the thing.
There's more coming.
There's a thing that had me giggling when he told me where he was from and knowing Vegas, and I was like, I think I know where this is going, but I will wait. Okay. I would check in. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely be like, let's not hold everything up. Let's get going. But then someone please just check in on Kyle and just make sure that he's okay or that he's around. Yeah. So Kelly tries texting him. No response. Someone else calls, goes straight to voicemail. So it doesn't even ring. So, phone's probably dead. Not a great sign. Kind of a little discerning. So they're all a bit worried because this is actually abnormal behavior for Kyle. So even though he's got a bit of a reputation, he's not really one to flake. And according to Kelly, when they all split up at the end of the night before, he seemed okay, but was definitely drunk. And everyone's a bit on edge now because Kelly went up on the earlier side compared to the rest of them. So they're like, is this like a who's the last person to see him kind of situation? So someone gets the idea to ask the hotel to do a wellness check. So Kelly, Emily, and a couple of other people go with the hotel manager to Kyle's room. The manager unlocks Kyle's room and lets them in.
Wait, time out. First of all, what hotel is this? Because I will never be staying there.
I know.
Two, the employee should not have gone with him. Someone from HR should have gone. Three,
HR's not
unlocking
present.
the door is actually absolutely wild. And I think, like, illegal. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think it's different when you say that there's a wellness check. I don't know. Those are the only details that I have, that it's like,
probably
because they're like, this is concerning. No one's seen him. Like, we're worried about him, which is why that was like explicitly stated. But there's no HR at this retreat, remember? So this is literally just like all these people. This HR person who told me the story found out after the fact, like what happened.
Course.
Yeah.
I hate this. Okay. Sorry. Continue the story.
No, you're good. No, you're calling out the right things. Like normally under regular circumstances, like that would be crazy. But so they said the wellness check. They're like, this is weird.
One last thing. Why would they let them all go to this retreat and not send an HR person? Like very rarely. Usually, at least there's like one HR, even the HRBP who supports the organization that's meeting, the head of HR,
Poor planning.
Or a leader. Like this is a leadership retreat. Like why not have a leader of HR? Yeah. Where's the boss?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This one I don't know. There's lots of mysteries. That's what's so funny. Sometimes I get these stories and HR hasn't been present at all. And I'm just like, this would have probably ended a little bit differently if HR was there, which is kind of like the fun part of what we get to talk about.
Okay.
I mean, think about our last episode, Rebecca, and we were talking about how like being asked as HR to attend one of these events so that there's a grown up there, and like there's downsides to that, being like I have to go so that I can be like bad cop, but the alternative is that you don't go and shit like this happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone needs to be an adult in the room, and unfortunately, it's not any of the adults that are on this
Not
trip.
any of these people.
None of these people who are definitely like who should know better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
So
I'm tired. They unlock the door.
Kyle's door gets unlocked. Do you want to guess what they walked in on?
Naked.
I'm just going to leave this open.
For sure, he's.
What
naked.
did you say?
For sure, he's naked.
Okay.
Like
I'm gonna guess there's some like drug paraphernalia strewn about. A big old mess.
And now, a quick word from our sponsor, SkillCycle. SkillCycle is a talent development system that connects performance management to one-to-one coaching and development. The SkillCycle platform aligns individual growth with business objectives through continuous feedback, AI-powered development paths, and leadership training. As a SkillCycle co-founder, I'd love to talk to you out there in our audience, progressive people leaders who really get it. Let's chat over coffee on us to give us some feedback on the episode and about the challenges you're facing today. You might just contribute to a topic on our next episode. Email us today at hrconfessions@skillcycle.com. That's hrconfessions@skillcycle.com. So at first, they see just this empty but trashed room. So the bed's unmade, the lamp is on, and the shades are open. Kelly notices the bathroom door is open, so she goes to check it out. She finds Kyle passed out naked in the hotel bathtub.
Yeah.
Points for Hebba. Fully unconscious, water half drained, limbs splayed like starfishing.
Oh my God.
Dollar bills floating around him like he's in a sad, soggy music video. So poor Kelly's the one who walks in on him. She goes, "Oh my God, I need help in here." Could you imagine? For those who are not watching this, Hebba's jaw is open.
I'm not even laughing because like my first thought is like she will never not be able to not know what he looks like naked, and I do not want to know what any of my coworkers look like. I'm uncomfortable by that thought.
And like naked starfished in a half-drained bathtub with dollar bills floating around you. That is a scene.
Yeah, that is a scene.
Sanitary, like ugh. Okay. Anyways,
yeah. I'm also like, Kyle's carrying cash. Like, damn, Kyle.
Well, he's in Vegas, you know.
Yeah,
he had to stop by the ATM.
Definitely.
Yeah. But like, also imagine like, there's the funny side of it, but it's also kind of jarring because it's like, not to be morbid, but like, what if you just found him dead? Because,
I
like,
mean,
you don't know.
that
He's
was
just in a
actually-
bathtub.
That's what I was thinking. Like, did he pass out in the bathtub and drown? I mean, I didn't think that was the case because I didn't think you would have told us that story.
Right. I wouldn't have told it
in
this way.
way.
Yeah.
You would have saved us from that.
Yeah, Kyle is very much alive, for the record. Just for the record. Not to spoil
is so
anything,
happy
but
with us.
this
Yeah.
is not a dark story.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
oof,
Yeah.
don't drink and bathe, guys.
Yeah. So Kelly finds him. She's, in there alone. She goes, "Oh my God, I need help in here." So everyone comes rushing in. They
Oh my
quickly
God,
assess that
everyone's
Kyle's
seen
very much
Kyle
alive.
naked now.
So everyone's seeing Kyle naked. But they know he's very much alive because he's snoring so very loudly. Like,
Yes, he
just
is.
so loud. So
Oh, Kyle,
Emily
I
comes
love
rushing and
this.
she goes, "What the actual hell?" And it's like, I could just imagine if it were me, I would like look at it and I would just be like, I freaking can't. But then if I were the HR person, I'd be like, I guess I have to. But none of them are, so they get the privilege of not having to deal with Kyle. However,
I mean,
gotten a
they
cup
do.
of water, turned on the cold water, and like splashed him with the cold water,
And
you'd
then
be
like
friends with
walked
Emily.
out.
and then like walked out.
You'd be
yeah.
friends with Emily, actually. So,
Okay, what'd she do?
Oh, what did she do?
so Kyle's out cold. There's no blood, no injuries, just Kyle and a pile of wet bills and what appears to be the aftermath of a very long night. So eventually Kelly starts like shaking Kyle's shoulder to try waking him up.
Not touching it.
Emily
Sorry.
leaves. Emily leaves and comes back with a bucket of ice that she just dumps on his head.
I'm not touching no naked person. Okay, that's a surefire way to no.
Kelly's still kind of like, she's like, okay, he's alive, but like, is he good? Like, is he okay? Is this like a coma? So she's like, please, like, just wake up. And like Emily just coming in and dumping water on his head, like just a bucket of ice on his head is like perfect. So after his ice bucket challenge, Kyle starts to come to. And he's like groggy, he's disoriented, and he's mostly trying to figure out why everyone is in his hotel room
Still
and
naked.
why
He's
his
still
entire
naked.
self is just out. Yep.
He's
so naked.
Still naked. Okay.
Very naked.
I probably would have like thrown a towel over him in the wet bathtub
Same.
just
Same.
to hide
So
things.
finally someone thinks to grab him a robe. Yeah. It just makes me think
Good
of
call.
have you ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, I think it is?
Oh no, I haven't seen two.
Oh my god. So 2, it is funny. So the dad gets stuck in the bathtub and all the brothers, like all the in-laws have to come and help him. And they're all like, we can't unsee this. We can't unsee this. And they're like, just get him a towel. So this is just what I'm picturing as I'm like reading this story about Kyle.
Oh,
Because
you
this
can't
was an
unsee your
anonymous
coworker
submission.
in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
compromised position.
Yep. So someone finally grabs him a robe from the closet. Another person, for some reason, starts picking up the bills with 2 fingers,
no.
like just pulling them
Hell
out of the
no.
tub. I know, I'm like, I wouldn't do
Contaminated
that.
bills? Why? Why?
I don't like touching dollar bills on a good day, but definitely not when they're in the naked bathtub of my coworker. I just don't need them that badly.
Oh, oh.
So they're all just trying to figure out what exactly happened here, Kyle included. So he finally manages to sit up and he just goes, "What happened?" So, any thoughts you want to share? Like, you find Kyle, do you want to start to piece together some things that might have happened?
I mean, I want to know what happened. Do I want to do that right now in the bathroom while we're all crowded around our naked coworker in the bathroom? Well, I guess he's
Well, he
robed
has a
at this
robe on
point.
now.
I would say, I would probably say, bro, we don't know what happened, but get yourself together. Come downstairs when you're ready. If you figure any of this shit out, let us know.
You're so nice. I would be like, bro, you're supposed to tell us. You have been late. We have to do a wellness check on you. Your ass needs to get dressed and come downstairs.
Yeah, we have
No,
stuff
take
to
your
do.
time. We have things to do. You've now upheld our day. We are ready to go. Come on.
We all
You're
have now
you're
seen
much
things that
more,
we can't unsee.
Yeah, I can now
You
never
are
unsee your
laying down the
naked
law.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I would be
Fair point.
so sassy in that situation. I'd be like a little empathetic, be like, hey, are you okay? Once I realize they're okay, I'm be like, all right, get your ass dressed. Am I allowed to say ass on this podcast? Because I would be like, get your
Yeah,
ass
you could say
dressed.
ass on this podcast.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. I'd be like, get your ass, we gotta go. Like, if I'm not HR in this scenario, if I'm HR, we're approaching this very differently.
Right. You're not. You get the gift of not being HR in this story.
I get the gift
and
of
then we'll
not
talk about
being
if you
HR.
were HR.
Okay, great. I'm not HR, and this is just like my friend Kyle. I'd be like, Kyle, yo, what the man? Get dressed. We gotta go. Like, now we gotta tell people we found you naked in a bathtub. Unless you don't want that story going around the retreat, get dressed. We're gonna tell people you slept through your alarm, and we're going downstairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And so, like, Kyle just asked them what happened, and then Kelly responds, like, yeah, Kyle, what happened? And Kyle goes, I'm not sure. Are they still here? And Kelly goes, are who still here?
I'm sorry, what?
So after a lot of back and forth, here's what they ultimately pieced together.
Oh, God.
After the team broke off from the hotel bar, let's go back in time. We're back when Kelly goes to bed. After the team broke off from the hotel bar, Kyle, feeling the Vegas energy, decided to keep the night going. He met a couple of women, invited them back to his hotel room, and it turned into a full-blown after party. So according to Kyle, they did, quote, a little bit of everything. And it wasn't just room service. We're talking drugs, alcohol, whatever happens when you release your inhibitions.
Everything,
but I don't think that's what the song's about.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, and I'm like, sex.
a little bit of Monica in your life.
I mean,
a little bit of
Monica. I mean, it sounds like he had a lot of bit of Monica in his life.
Tell people. Okay, they're his friends. They're his friends. Maybe he's like, yeah. Here's what I did with my night.
For all I know, they could be finding they could be finding stuff. They could be finding lines everywhere. Like, who knows what they could be finding pills. Like, who knows what they're actually finding?
I mean,
they're like CSI and Kyle's night right now together as a team. They're trying to Tarantino it. They're starting they're working their way backwards.
I mean, I'm imagining every single TV show or movie that I've ever seen where people come across a Vegas hotel room after a party, and I'm just like compiling them together in a master mashup montage in my head right now, and that's what I'm imagining.
This is like the Hangover work edition. Yeah, it's just like the whole thing. Yeah.
I just gotta say, thank God I'm not HR in this situation.
For real, girl.
We're gonna get there.
I say that
in a second.
Things.
But like, I'm your friend, and he's like, "Did they leave?" I'm like, "Did who leave?" And then I'm checking the hotel room. Like,
right?
There another
did they leave?
To be aware of, yeah.
Exactly. Like, are we in danger here? And so, meaning there was at least two women, so at least like two people. We're not sure if it could have been more than that. It could have been three, but we know for sure it's at least two. And so at some point during all of this hullabaloo, Kyle passed out in the bathtub, and he didn't wake up until Kelly and Emily shook him and dumped ice on his head. So the women were gone. And after a look around the room, it's quickly discovered that his wallet, phone, and watch are also
Great.
So his work laptop is still there. So from a work perspective, his work laptop is still there.
They were like, we do not give a shit about your work laptop.
So they robbed him. They drugged him and robbed him. Like,
did they drug him or did he do drugs?
Well, he did drugs, but I don't know. We weren't there. I don't know to what degree. We don't know what was in them. There's a lot of,
leave his ID. Because I feel like if you're going to rob somebody, at least leave their ID. Going to the DMV is like the seventh layer of hell.
Yeah.
So
what are you going to do with their ID?
That'd be
it's
my
so
first
funny because the
question.
first thing that my first thought in my head was I was just like, how's he going to get home? Like, they have his ID. How's he going to fly home?
Yeah, rob me. Just don't take my ID. Like, if I ever got mugged, I'd be like, take my money, take my cards. Please don't make me go to the DMV. Please.
Right.
I'll even give you my PIN. I'll give you my PIN in an hour head start. Extract whatever you want.
I wouldn't even tell anybody. Just please don't take my ID because I really cannot go to the DMV again one more time this year.
Fair.
Which is justified. Yeah. And so but I think that his ID was taken because that was like one of my questions that I had reading this, but it's not addressed anywhere because I guess like we're the only people that thinks of this because you know what? We're practical. We are practical people.
We are.
So so like Kyle finally gets his wits about him and he's like, they realize that like, okay, like you're kind of like out of the woods a little bit. So Kyle, Emily, and the others decide that like they'll leave him to get himself together and kind of take whatever he needs to take care of. So like call your bank, call your credit card, do whatever, I guess, figure out how you're going to fly without your ID. I don't know. So this is where I'd like to take the opportunity. We've kind of started to allude to some of this, but HR wasn't in the room when this happened. So I'd like to take the opportunity now to ask you two what you do from an HR perspective if you were in the situation. How would you handle things with Kyle? And what do you do about the day 2 session? Like, what happens now?
I assume the session is still going on with a few of these employees missing. So like the retreat is happening. And this group is not a part of it right now.
What's the status?
They didn't.
I think so. I think that's what happened. Yeah.
That happens.
And it's kind of like, we'll join you when we can.
Yeah.
They were off having the adventures of Mary Kay and Ashley. Like,
For real. For real.
That's what that story felt like. I felt like we were all just like on a murder mystery, except no one got murdered, just mugged.
They were like sleuths.
Robbed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're HR. I mean, I'm immediately texting my HR friends to tell them what's going on, obviously. I'm immediately texting me like, Oh my God, you guys.
I am so good in a crisis. I think I just like love being in a crisis. That's like where I think I shine. Because like if they came up to me and were like, Kyle is missing, and we have the retreat going on, or like whoever is like talking, I'd be like, all right, everyone leave. I would go to the hotel. I'd be like, hey, we can't find this employee. Can you please go do a check in their room? I would go with them to do the check. I had to walk in and see him naked though. Like that is, that's like where I'm like, I don't want this job anymore. But I guess as HR, I have to keep being HR in the story, right? I can't just like opt out of being HR.
Yeah.
Well, you can talk about both experiences, but this is for the if you were HR in this scenario, you can't.
This is where like the crappy element of HR being like the health and wellness officer of your company and like safety and security of your company comes into play, and IT often if you're dealing with like stolen materials. It's like you do, even though you're not a medical professional, you do have an obligation to try your best to ensure the health and safety of your employee on this trip, right?
I would definitely go straight to the hotel and be like, you need to go unlock this door immediately. Like we need to knock on the door. If no one answers, we have to unlock and check.
Right.
I would do the same. I would bail on the session too, because usually I don't want to be in the sessions anyway. So I'm like, ooh, a task.
No, yeah.
I'm going to solve this. Then I would literally, if I walked in, so I'm naked, the first thing I would actually do is probably grab a towel and cover him up, like the way you said, Kim.
Yeah.
I would literally grab the quickest towel, cover up as much of his body as I could, and then I would try to like shake him. And then if the shaking didn't work, I would douse him in water.
Ice bucket. Yeah.
And I think I would probably be asking the hotel for security footage to see if we can identify these.
Who'd he leave with? Like, where'd they go?
Yeah, these mysterious guests, if we can find them because they stole his stuff. Like, maybe we can recover it. Assuming he, like, you know, is checked out to be fine. Maybe I'd, like, call an EMT check-in if he's, like, out of it. Just to make sure, you know, like, do we need to do, like, a tox screen? Do we need to pump his stomach? Like, what's...
Do you call the police? He got robbed. Do you call the police? File a report?
That's a tough one. Depending on how many illegal drugs and things he was on.
That was going to be my question. Like setting the scene, if we walk in, am I like seeing like a blunt? Am I seeing a line? Like, am I seeing any sort of illegal drugs? Because like marijuana is recreationally legal in Nevada.
Right.
But like, am I seeing any other drugs out there?
But cocaine
It's
is
just a
not
messy
technically.
room. Yeah, it's just a messy room is all I hear.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all I know, right? But also, like, it's gossip. It's like plausible deniability. Kelly could have told her HR person whatever, and the HR person could have told me.
Well,
they might not have gotten the whole truth.
Assuming we don't know that there were drugs,
Yeah.
I would probably have.
We know that there were drugs. He said Kyle said that they did
okay.
drugs, but we didn't. But Kyle said we're not seeing it anywhere.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But if I'm still HR on the story, do you think he would wake up and ask the HR person or tell the HR person I did drugs?
Probably not.
There's a drug policy, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be a drug. But remember, again, marijuana is recreationally legal
Right.
in
Right,
Nevada.
yeah.
So,
I'm thinking like the harder drugs that would have like knocked him out.
Yeah.
Look at us being all like CSI. Well, what drugs specifically was he on? How did they react with the
like, can I get
alcohol in his system?
I'm just running through the questions that I was like, if I had to write this as a report, I would be like, what are the questions I would have asked and like had on hand and like details.
And what is the
of
drug policy? To your point, like
what is if they're like if they're a cool company that like doesn't care as long as it's legal,
right?
Or if it's written in a
he
certain
has
way.
theoretically he could have plausible deniability of like, well, I smoked some marijuana with them, which is perfectly legal, and I don't know what else they slipped into my drink.
I was going to say they could have put something in his drink. How do they know? Like, we don't know.
Exactly.
If they were planning on robbing him, who knows?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I hate calling the cops, but I would probably ask the hotel, like, what is your protocol for this?
Yeah.
Because surely this is not the first time the hotel has seen
guest
this.
has been robbed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I assume that they submitted some sort of an incident report. So whether or not that has to go further than the hotel, what I do know is that they didn't submit they didn't file a report with the police because Kyle wasn't interested in getting his stuff back. He was just so humiliated and so didn't want to deal with it anymore that he's just like, whatever. It was like,
Cool.
we're not going to find these people. Like, I don't want to bother myself with this, but they did submit an incident report. so that the hotel can like look out for these people because they're robbing their guests or something.
Yeah.
It sounds like White Lotus.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could see that in a sense, like you're in Vegas for theoretically maybe like another day. Do you really want to be tied up in a Vegas police case thing?
Right.
Like maybe he just doesn't care. It's just stuff. He has insurance on his phone and his credit cards or whatever. And it's annoying. The ID and the how is he going to get back home, I fear would become an HR problem.
Really? I would say
That's a Kyle problem. Yeah.
Straight up, you can go get a temporary thing.
Yeah. I just imagine there's nothing HR should do or even really can do, but I imagine it becoming something that's like, well, how are we going to get Kyle home? It's like, well, Kyle needs to go figure that out.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I'd be like, I'm not dealing with getting Kyle home. Kyle shouldn't have gotten robbed.
You lost your license. You can Google just like I can Google. What do I do if I'm trapped in a state and I've lost my license?
Yeah.
And you can go. Also, if you have Clear, I'm pretty sure if you have TSA I think it's just Clear. You sometimes can fly without your ID. Not saying Kyle has Clear. Kyle clearly is not a planner by any means.
I think this happened before Clear was a thing. This is kind of an older story.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why they were G-chatting.
Either way, like he should theoretically be adult enough to figure out how to get to the whatever local bureau it is to get a temporary license to fly.
Yeah.
The other piece I'm thinking about is like if Kyle was actually drugged. So like this would be like I don't even know scenario. Like, what role do you all think we should play in that? Because like now this person at a company sanctioned event. Like yes, maybe they were doing things outside of company sanctioned hours and a company sanctioned activity. But maybe potentially something still got slipped into his drink without him knowing.
This is why those waivers you mentioned are so important, right? Like where does the company liability end?
Oof, it's true. Even if the waivers, like you think you're signing the waiver to be like what you do is on you, but what if it's something that's done to you?
Yeah.
So actually, I have some good questions.
Is it the company's fault if you've gone outside of the company scheduled events and you've gone and gotten yourself into whatever sort of trouble or something is done to you? Is that the company's responsibility or is it your responsibility? Because, we say like we're responsible for you between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. What you do after that is your own time.
Yeah, but can't any executives of a company be held personally liable for something that happens?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why that's why we have different insurances that like protect executives from being sued. But at the same time, it's like, I just imagine if like Kyle was a woman, how
different it would be,
more serious, and like candidly, I don't think that's fair. Like man or woman, if you get slipped something and now you are taking a substance that you didn't even know you were getting. I do think like from an HR perspective, it's like, what can we do to make sure that person's okay, regardless if it's like a man or a woman?
Absolutely.
So I did want to ask, so the way that this story ends is basically just like Kyle just like joins the rest of the group. He just like cleans up, joins the rest of the group for day 2 for their sessions. Once they found Kyle, we know they were going. And they acted like nothing happened. Like no one says a word to him. Right. There are no debriefs, not even a, hey man, are you good? Like it's only the 4 people who found him who know the details of what happened. And like they just sit through the rest of the sessions and it literally never came up again. And Kyle stayed at the company for a few more years. There were no formal consequences, no official record, just like the shared traumatic memory of seeing your coworker naked that nobody ever brought up ever again. Wow. But what I wanted to kind of ask you guys is like, what if Kyle were a woman? How would this be handled differently? Literally, if everything happened exactly the same way, would it be as funny? Would we react the same way? And or what if Kyle were a less liked employee? Because like Kyle was kind of like, he's Kyle. Like everybody loves Kyle. Kyle's cool. But like, what if Kyle wasn't cool? What if Kyle was like someone they're kind of like, ugh, it's that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was definitely like because we knew this vibe about Kyle, I think if it was a woman who carried a similar vibe of like, she's a party girl, she's always going out and doing stuff, and she like, she meets her numbers, but you never know what's going to happen at a company offsite when Kylie is around. Probably would have had the same reaction, honestly. Like,
yeah.
But I do think as a society, we take things more seriously when there's a woman involved, which again, as you said, Hebba, like that's not fair that we do that.
Yeah. I like my bias is like, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
if something was slipped into my drink, I'd be so freaked out. And I then would approach probably this situation with like even more care. And I think like just while thinking through that story, and Rebecca, you've like posed it, what if this was a woman or a less like employee? It made me think like, it's not fair that we don't take it as seriously when it is men, because we're just like, it's men.
Mm-hmm.
There was this campus group on my college campus called like 1 in 4, and it was like 1 in 4 men experience, I think, sexual assault, and it was unreported. And I thought that was just like a campus group like committed to something really to like help people, but at the same time, it like really elevated to me like the experience, regardless of our gender, is equally as like dangerous and should be taken just as seriously, even if it's like, oh, Kyle could have defended himself and Kyle couldn't.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they're still being put in a situation where like their right is being taken away from them and their boundary is being crossed.
And why is it, now I'm thinking like, I mean, we know why, but like, isn't it interesting, I'll say, that we find the idea of like naked male employee found in bathtub funny, if not alarming.
Yeah.
Naked female employee found in bathtub, I don't think we would have found it as funny.
Horrifying. Yeah. Like we shouldn't. That's just like our own bias too, right?
Right. Like why are naked men funny and naked women are scary or like hurt or, you know.
Yeah. And like, would that have changed how you responded to it as an HR person? So like they filed an incident report with the hotel. They didn't file a police report. If it were a woman, would you have? I would have.
I think it would have depended on what she wanted to do.
I would have deferred to the person. Like I think in that situation, while like just cycling through my emotions as we're all talking about it, like I think like, yes, the funny and not funny situation is like really eye-opening, but I do think as an HR person, I would have handled the situation exactly the same, regardless of if it was a male or a female. My first question would be like, are you okay?
Right.
And like, what do you want to do about this? And I'm not going to force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do, but I am going to make it clear like what resources are available to you. Because I feel like I do feel like there's this push and pull or tug with HR where like we could overstep in a situation that rightfully like isn't our place to overstep, right?
Right.
I'm not about to pressure someone into making a police report if they don't want to make a police report. My goal there should be like, let's resolve the situation. Let's make sure you get the support and help you need, and that like the company fulfills its responsibility to like you in this event. But like, I also don't think it should be like, I'm going to make you do this.
And is this, tell me if this feels insensitive or overkill or something, but I probably would also, when we're like trying to consider this case closed, I would probably want to document something in writing that Kyle or Kylie was satisfied with the company's response and doesn't need anything else. And like, I would want to close it with something official. Like it is a little nervy to me that there was like no documented incident report or anything within the company. Like there's no HR, right? Yeah. But like I would want, for my own protect the company standpoint, like something to confirm. Because to your point, like you don't want to pressure them into doing something they don't want to do. If they change their mind, I want to be open to supporting them with what they want now. But I also want to know, like, as of this date, I am resolved. If I change my mind and do want to file a police report later, or I do want to report something later, like I understand how to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think it's a little bit of like, you have to CYA at times in HR for your ass. But like, for me, an incident report or just like a documentation of it happening is less about covering my ass and more about showing I actually did something. Because like, how often do we know from an HR perspective, like things go unhandled for so long? Yeah. Or like sexual harassment gets reported and then nothing happens, or the wrong person gets fired. So like my take on that is like, the way I solve this as an HR person is like, this incident happened. Here's everybody who's here's everyone involved. Here's everyone who's notified. Here are the actions that were taken. And that document like needs to be seen, signed, or whatever by like all the people involved, or like anyone who's important for the records.
Right.
Yeah.
And that takes sensitivity, right? Because you want to do that without re-traumatizing the person, without making them... Kyle seems like the type of person who's like, let's just forget this ever happened. Let's move on. I'm embarrassed. I don't talk about it. But that doesn't mean as an HR leader that you don't have an obligation to button things up before you call it closed.
You cannot sweep things under the rug in HR.
Right.
Like that is... I have this like TikTok that's like going somewhat viral right now where people are writing about like the worst thing HR people have done to them. And they're so in the comments, the two top things are reported sexual harassment and they got fired instead of the harasser. And the second thing is like bereavement was terrible. Like bereavement policy.
You're
for,
talking
like,
about this.
A miscarriage or like a stillborn, awful. Like first of all, bereavement policy is separate, but the sexual harassment one, like candidly really terrifies me. Because I'm like, what are these HR teams doing when someone comes to you and says, I have been, and some of them were like, I had evidence, I had witnesses. I'm like, I understand the gray area of saying like, oh, Kim inappropriately touched me, and then Kim saying I never inappropriately touched her, and then now you're doing an investigation between a he said, she said scenario, which should still be done. But like when there's evidence and people see you, like there needs to be some sort of paper trail from the HR perspective where it's like, this thing happened, we had to resolve it this way. And even if the resolution is like, we decided not to fire the person, if it were me and we decided not to fire the person, I would still put that resolution in the paperwork and I would hold myself accountable. I would make sure.
And then just say like, this is the decision that was made.
Yeah. Or like HR suggested termination, chief executive officer decided not. I would put that in the report.
Absolutely.
And I would be clear. So when someone comes to me one day, I'm just like, here's my report. I wanted to do it.
Right.
You said no.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there are things in companies that are not your decision as HR. You don't have the power to make that call, but you can document the decision-making process.
Yeah.
I forget that all the time. And they're like, HR is there for the company. I'm like, you employee are the company.
We all are.
So I have to protect you because you are my other assets. Like people are like, it's just there for the company. I'm like, if you only knew half the shit I'm saying behind closed doors, that's just for the employees. The amount of times I've put myself on the line. Like I even said that in one of the comments I replied back. I was like, I have put myself and my job at risk to advocate for the employees because I know it's the right thing for the business. Like you all don't see that. You see like the outcome. And that's why I think like HR could also be more transparent about our reporting process. What does an investigation look like? Why does that word not need to be scary? And like who actually hears from the resolution?
Yeah. Right. And how are decisions made and who owns them at the end of the day?
Yeah. Right.
Like, because that's the, I think that's the part of it is there's also a lot that happens in a company that HR is not aware of. Like we know a lot. Yeah. We know where a lot of bodies are buried, but this is an example of like HR had no idea about this until it came out years later as like did you know that this happened at this time, at this place? Like, did you know about this? It's like, no, I didn't know about this.
I had hundreds about things, made comments about them, made jokes about them. And every single person was like, no, that's not true. Only to find out years later it was true.
Yeah. We're usually right. That's in our intro.
We're usually right about these things. I think to your point about like, people don't understand or people don't know how the inner workings of these things are. This is like my whole bag right now about storytelling for HR is like, if people don't know that there is a process that you treat with equity and anonymity and, whatever safeguards are in place for employees, they're not going to report stuff because maybe they had a bad experience at a previous company. Maybe they're scared of retaliation. Maybe they're just embarrassed. But if HR is not marketing themselves as a safe place for people to come to with this stuff, and it's not just come talk to us, we're safe, you can trust us, it's come tell things because we have this process in place to ensure your safety. Like you have to help people believe you when
it's also like they don't know who
they don't.
The other thing I think is interesting when I do investigations is I tell the person as they are making a complaint, I say, just so you understand the process, here is who is privy to these details. Here's who I have to tell because I have to tell them. Here are the only two other people who have to be involved in any sort of regard, and nobody else outside of this group of people will hear or speak of this matter. And I also think like that is missing in HR too, where people are like, HR just gossips about everyone. And I'm like, you think I want to be gossiping about sexual harassment? That's like the last thing I want to be doing. That's like so counter to all my fucking values. You think I'm going to be like, oh, guess what? So-and-so's touching people's butts. Like, no, I'm not doing that. And also, if you're HR and you're gossiping about confidential things, like, candidly, you should not be in HR. You should not be talking about people's salaries, people's personal life. Like, shut your mouth and do your job. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's like what I mean. That's where like there's been a lot of times where HR has just given other HR people a bad rep, which is why your TikTok's going viral too, because there's a lot of people that do HR wrong, and doing HR wrong is a lot more damaging than doing sales wrong or doing marketing wrong, right? Because it's like you're literally dealing with people's lives and people's attitudes. And what I find so funny about, Kyle is, and just, thinking more broadly about the fact that this was never reported, it was never talked about, HR never knew about it. There's, it says something about probably just Kyle's take on it. Kyle was probably embarrassed, right? And like probably thought like this thing happened. It didn't happen in the office. It wasn't a coworker who did it to me. So what would HR do about it? Which, if I think about that, like that's fair. But then there's also the fact that no one ever, like, it never came up again. So it's just sort of was just like, okay, whatever. So is that a culture of avoidance? Like, no one even asked Kyle if he was okay. It was literally just like, okay, like very, very stunted emotional responses, I think, because they were literally all just like, okay, towel, ice bucket, let's go back to our sessions. And so what I think I start to get meta about culture and company culture and leadership culture, because these are all leaders at this company. These aren't individual reports, right? These are directors.
Not junior people.
Right. So like there's a lack of EQ there if no one is like checking in on Kyle, and if no one is trying to sort of show some like, hey, like, it's all good or it's okay. Like it's very much just sort of avoiding the whole thing. And so, that to me, that says that that's a culture of, if these directors can't be, if they can't connect with each other, people who they're tight enough to have not wanted to start the day without Kyle. And they're tight enough to hang out until midnight, 1 a.m. at the hotel bar together after spending the whole day together. But they're not tight enough to be like, dude, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like that sort of it's an interesting cultural maturity, human maturity kind of moment for me that makes me think like, well, if they can't show up very well for each other, how do they show up if it's a direct report who has something that happens to them like that? Like these are all peers, but what if it was like, what if Kyle reported to Kelly?
If you work at this company, please submit the rest of your stories to Rebecca.
Yeah, please
so we can fill out the rest of our podcast season.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Do we have any
bonkers.
Final thoughts? Do we have any final thoughts?
I feel like this is ending on such a sad. I just want to give Kyle a hug. I'm sorry you had to go through this, Kyle.
We got real serious and meta about it.
I know.
It happens. Sometimes these stories like trigger serious conversations. That's kind of the whole thing. HR is a serious job.
It was like funny for a second, and then I was mortified, and then I was like, wait a minute, this is like actually really serious. And I like sometimes I do feel like I take the fun out of like the simple things because I'm always worried about the repercussions, but I think like that intentionality and care is like what defines like the best HR teams from the terrible ones that we all talk about all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. And we went through our own emotional journey, right? Because like at first it's like you see the story at like face value and you're kind of just like, oh, but then if you take 2 seconds to just think a little bit more deeply, then it's like, oh, actually,
this is not that funny no more.
Yeah. Which happens all the time, I think. It's like, and maybe Hebba, you said like, I ruin, it's easy for us to ruin things or just kind of like be the negative Nancy's, but we have to be the people that think a little bit deeper sometimes because on the surface, the story is crazy and hilarious and funny. Yeah. And then when you just like think a little bit more deeply and apply a little bit of human empathy, it's kind of like, wait a minute, maybe it's not quite what we thought.
Not okay. Yeah. That's how I feel about a lot of things in work. Then people are like, ha ha ha, isn't that funny? And I'm like, no. Yeah, that's not funny. And you shouldn't be talking about that because it's none of your business. Like, there are so many moments where people are like, you're so funny and you like to have fun. Like, how are you in HR? And I'm like, just because I'm funny and like to have fun does not mean I'm down for y'all mistreating each other.
Yes.
So like,
there's a line.
There's a line. And like, unfortunately, like the older I've gotten and like kind of the more serious about my career in this job, and it's like the weight of the world on your shoulders, the more serious I've gotten in those moments where I'm like, that's not funny. Like, I will tell people like, that's not funny. Don't make jokes like that. That's inappropriate. Yeah. And then I will just exit for the conversation.
Yeah. And kudos to you for that, for like holding that boundary and for saying that firmly, because it's like, it shouldn't, humor shouldn't be at someone else's expense. That's the rule of thumb. If it is, then it's not funny.
Yeah. I hate that. But to end on a positive note, make sure you know what drugs are legal in the state that you are having a leadership retreat in.
Good information to know. And also, don't do your
operate
offsites
on the
in
buddy
Vegas.
system.
Yeah. Don't go
Honestly.
to Vegas. Really don't go to Vegas. Also, Florida decided they're not doing vaccines today, so maybe don't go to Florida either.
Don't go to Florida either then. Yeah.
How about this? Just like a virtual retreat where I don't have to see any of you and I could just close my computer and leave.
Honestly, I do love that. I can sleep in my own bed. I had to go to 2 different events in Florida in the same week in different parts of Florida. One was in Fort Myers, one was in Daytona. So it's 4 hours to drive across state. I flew home to Jersey, slept in my own bed, showered with my own water, and then flew back down to Florida because I didn't want Florida water to touch my curly hair.
I feel that.
I was like, please just let me use my own shower because this water's too salty.
Curly
it's just too
hair
dry.
People don't get it.
They don't.
We know what cities we can shower in. And
Yes.
it is a limited list. Like my hair might be straight right now, but I ain't showering in Florida. My hair always looks weird in Florida.
Let me tell you, come on out to Berkeley. We've got that beautiful mountain water flowing through our pipes.
Yeah.
Rebecca, that should be like a new project you and I undertake, like showering with curly hair in different cities.
Different states. We start like a blog. It's just like, you can rate the texture, the look, the curl pattern. Honestly,
This week,
Get it sponsored by some shampoo company.
I'm showering in West Virginia. I guess that's what I learned.
I hear Tennessee. I actually hear Nashville has really good water. So like we should go there and check it out.
I am going to Wreckfest, but I will not be washing my hair. There are limited states I will wash my hair, and to be very, it's a lot to manage. If you don't have curly hair, I cannot travel with 8 products: my shampoo, my conditioner, all my products, and my blow dryer. I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
It's too much.
No, yeah, same. I mean, I would never be able to carry on because like nothing's going to come in travel size. I would just exceed my liquid limit. It's just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
The Diary of a Curly Haired Queen. That's our next podcast.
There you go.
This is our next podcast, our next blog.
Our next blog. We got this. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Hebba, for coming. This was so fun. And if any of you all out there have stories that you want to submit, tell us your HR confessions. You can email us at hrconfessions@skillcycle.com. We accept voice notes. You can DM me on LinkedIn. You can send me an email. You can reach out to us in literally any way. I get the most random submissions from the most random places. And you don't have to be in HR. A lot of our stories actually are not coming from HR people. So we get to have the what would happen if HR was in the room conversation, which I think is always fun. So yes, that's it for this week. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Hebba, for being here. Kim, always a pleasure. And have a good day, everybody.
Yay,
Bye.
thank you.